that's the dynamic that we face right now. They are consolidating power. Of the 100 largest economies on the planet, 51 are now corporations. They're private economies rather than state economies.
What we do here is we do enterprise. That's what we do. We do enterprise better than anybody. We do it better than the Japanese. We do it better than the Europeans. We do it better than anybody. We do enterprise. That's what we do.
German is the language of science, which it still is, and French is the language of war, which it has been since Napoleon, then English is the language of commerce.
Well, the commercialization of culture leads to the decay of culture because the almighty dollar reigns supreme.
Patriots and nationalists and others against globalism and supranationalism is the great coming struggle of our time. It's going to succeed the Cold War.
As I said, you can like corporations, you can hate corporations, but they are not democratic institutions.
Our democracy, our government, our elections have been hijacked by big money.
They've bought and sold our political process.
You learn what it's like going up against the establishment. If you want to know the strength of the tide, try swimming against it.
As they gain more and more stature and more power on this planet, we're going to see a loss of our democratic freedoms and rights.
I mean, we confuse democracy and capitalism. If you ask somebody what's democracy, they'll often say something like, well, it's everybody has an equal chance. Well, that's not right. I mean, or anybody could be successful. That's capitalism. That's not democracy. Democracy is, one guy gets one vote. That's democracy.
The certified result in the presidential race in Florida is as follows. Governor George W. Bush, 2,912,790. Vice President Al Gore, 2,912,253. Accordingly, on behalf of the State Elections Canvassing Commission, and in accordance with the laws of the state of Florida, I hereby declare Governor George W. Bush the winner of Florida's 25 electoral votes.
I think what frightens me the most is how powerless most people feel. And we see this in lots of ways. We see it in the fact that people don't feel engaged in a democracy in any meaningful sense. They feel cynical, that it's overwhelming, that what they do isn't going to make any difference. And that I find very frightening, because a democracy can't exist if you have a citizenry that feels disempowered.
Oh yeah, the Supreme Court. Yeah, we're fucking there. We're definitely fucking the Supreme Court.
You used the word citizen. You know, that's a throwback for me, when Americans used to think of themselves as citizens. You know, these Americans originally thought of themselves as subjects, right? Subjects to the monarch. And then they had their revolt, and then they were citizens. And since we've really, you know, instituted free market capitalism to the extent that we have, and since we've become a market society, now Americans experience themselves as consumers. And most of our revolts are consumer revolts.
Right now, I think that we live in a very shallow corporate reality, which in fact offers us an incredible array of products and a freedom to choose between all kinds of different commodities and all kinds of different consumer goods, but that offers very little actual personal freedom to expand and grow as an individual and kind of create our own culture and our own reality.
We are losing autonomy, and we're replacing autonomy with consumer rights. And consumer rights and genuine autonomy are two different things.
It's like artificial consent, yet we all think we're consenting to like live, you know, a certain way, and we all think that like the things that we enjoy and the thing, you know, our car and our clothes and stuff, that's like an individual thing, and in some cases it is, but on the main level in the United States, it's like just something you buy into, like, oh, I want to wear Hilfiger pants, which I have on right now, you know, like they fit really well, though, you know.
It could be said to a great extent that addiction drives our economy. That not only addiction to certain kinds of products, to alcohol, to cigarettes, that kind of thing, but addiction to shopping, to spending, to consuming.
It's not just Alcoholics Anonymous and Chocoholics Anonymous. It's online anonymous. I mean, there's almost 400 different anonymous 12-step programs. If you add together their claimed constituency, it's almost 370% of the population.
The addict is really the best customer. The person who desperately needs whatever it is that you're selling and is willing to do almost anything to get it is the best customer.
I've been playing PlayStation I played it more than Nintendo, and I just love it so much.
1, 2, 3, go!
PlayStation 2 will be released. Hundreds of people will get their hands on these blue boxes. Coming up, we'll show you what all of the excitement is about.
I've been waiting here probably about 22 hours or so. Americans are willing to spend more money and are out, you know, doing that.
Since the past 5 years, we've been able to take over the market share. Right now, PlayStation's in 1 out of every 4 U.S. households, which is equivalent to 27 million people in the U.S. alone, 73 million worldwide.
PlayStation's the next line of the latest and greatest. If you gotta have it, you gotta have it. You know, it doesn't matter what it is. You know, this is just like, you know, this is it, at least for another year or so.
The basic struggles between the civic culture and the corporate culture. We either have a sovereignty of the people in this country with all the creativity and justice and opportunity and prosperity and trusteeship for future generations that this entails, or we have a sovereignty of big business, which is what we have now, where everything's for sale. Our government is for sale. Our culture is for sale. Our elections are for sale. Our democracy is for sale. Our human genes are for sale.